find someone.
Hey! Today I will be doing some art tips. I'm not a professional artist, but I'd say I'm pretty good. So I'm gonna give you guys some tips because I've done a few sketchbook tours and people seem to really enjoy that kind of content. So yeah, and somebody asked for some tips, so that's what I'm doing. So my first tip is download Pinterest. Seriously, even if you're only using it for art, Pinterest is just amazing. I love Pinterest. I spend so much time on Pinterest. I love Pinterest. Not only is it amazing content-wise, but it gives you really good references. Like literally half of my art is Pinterest inspired or with references from Pinterest. So let me just get an example of that. That girl right there, I drew her, like that's a photo that I got from Pinterest. Most of the time I use art that I see on Pinterest as my art references, not photos, but photos can also be good. So yeah, like I saw a drawing of that and I copied it, and that's how, yeah, so yeah. Not only does it have good references, it also has good ideas. So like if you just want some ideas, like if you have art block or something, it's really good for that. Let me just that almost fell on my face. There's another photo that I got off Pinterest. Oh my god, focus please. Thank you. There we go. Here are some, this is drawings that I saw on Pinterest. So like these aren't actual people, but yeah. My frogs. Oh yes, here's a perfect example of ideas. I saw a video of how to do these frogs and that's how I started drawing them. So lots of people would actually know that I draw these frogs and they would have seen them, but I didn't come up with that idea. I just saw it on Pinterest and I was like, oh, that's so cute, I want to start drawing them, and then I started making my own original ideas from the frog idea. But yeah, it also gives really good motivation. So if you just see artists on Pinterest, even if you don't want to copy them or use references on Pinterest, just watching somebody else seems to help me, if that makes sense. This one actually only came to me like a few days ago, but it's good to have two sketchbooks because this is my main one, right? I only have one little sketchbook and that's this one, but I've realized that maybe the reason why I get art block so often is because I feel scared that I'm going to ruin this one because I'm so proud of all the stuff that I have in here, which kind of already happened with this page. I didn't really like how it turned out, but it's in there, you know, so I feel like I'm kind of scared to ruin this one, so it's always good to have a backup one. Although I still feel weird drawing in big sketchbooks because I have like 5 other sketchbooks that are empty at the moment, but I haven't used them because they're the bigger ones and the smaller ones are much easier for me. So oh yeah, that's another good tip. Size, it matters. Okay, don't make that weird. It's just like with sketchbooks, it matters so much to me because I've always, look, literally, but all of my past sketchbooks have been this size, right? And it was so hard for me to draw like that. And then, because like the style that I wanted to draw, I just couldn't draw in with those books. So yeah, just find what works best for you. Mine is definitely this one, but yeah, this might just be a me thing, but listening to music actually really helps me. It just keeps me motivated. Like I feel like drawing in silence is kind of like boring, but that's just my opinion. So like this is kind of an opinionated tip, but it definitely helps me. So yeah, make a playlist for literally just what hypes you up and then listen to that while you draw. Or not necessarily just what hypes you up, but also just like your favorite songs and all that kind of stuff. The next tip I have is finding your art style. So I wouldn't really say I have a particular art style, but you can kind of tell from like these kind of pages that it's kind of like, it kind of has its own like vibe to it at least. Like it's not really its own style, but it's still got its, still kind of like, you can tell that it was me that did it. And like the dots is kind of my thing. So I guess that might be considered style. So just kind of look at what habits you do, if that makes sense. Like I have like realistic stuff up on my wall. I'll show you that. yeah, I have all my realistic stuff up there, whereas in my sketchbook it's not as realistic. So you can kind of have two different styles or more, but I tend to stick to mostly one and still sometimes do the other, if that makes sense. But you do you, but that's just a tip, you know? Okay, this kind of ties in with the last one, but find things that you tend to draw. So for me, mine would be those frogs that you saw in the last sketchbook, dots. Oh yeah, here are the frogs as well, but dots. I draw dots all the time. I don't know why, it just keeps the page going. And then caterpillars is another one. I draw caterpillars in like all of my school books, so yeah. Another one would be stars. I've actually only recently learned how to properly draw stars, so that's kind of embarrassing, but oh yeah, and little swirlies. Little swirls, yeah. Oh yeah, you can see the dots on that one too, but yeah, so just find things that you tend to draw out of habit and then kind of incorporate it with your sketchbook pages as well. I feel like that really helps me. This one is actually so important because I have art block so often. Please, for the love of God, if you have a random idea that just pops into your head and you're like, oh my god, I should draw that. I'm not in the mood right now, I'll do it later. Write it down, honestly, because I had this idea for ages before I got this sketchbook, and I had to write it down because I was like, I will forget it, because I got this sketchbook for Christmas, right? Because I wanted a small sketchbook and I could not do that on a bigger page, but I needed a small sketchbook, so I just wrote it down, and then the second that I got the sketchbook, this was literally on Boxing Day, so the day after Christmas, I drew this. So yeah, and another example, these pages, I wanted to do a character in the middle of a swirly rainbow thing, and then I got this idea from that idea. So please write your ideas down if you don't plan on doing them straight away. The last tip I have is if you're struggling with something like drawing a nose or drawing a mouth or drawing eyes or blah blah blah, drawing like head, what's it called? Like just perspective basically, so like from side profile, there we go, side profile. So I suck at drawing side profiles, honestly. I should watch more tutorials about that. But yeah, my tip is watching tutorials. If you're struggling with something, watch a tutorial or watch multiple tutorials if one of them aren't working for you. Just find one that works for you and just draw with that tutorial until you get the hang of it, and then boom, you know how to draw. What am I saying? I completely forgot what I was gonna say. You're like, oh my god, come on, Charlie. Oh yes, if you're struggling with anatomy, that's what references are for, in my opinion. Like, most of my poses in this book, I have to use references for, like this one. I knew the character I was going to draw, which is practically me. Yeah, I wanted to draw me, but like, I didn't know how to draw the pose, basically. So I got that reference picture off Pinterest, and then I didn't copy the whole thing, I just copied the pose. If that makes sense. And then I used a reference for this one, but mainly just because I needed the anatomy for it. Like, because I probably could have drawn that if I didn't. But yeah, just if you're struggling with perspective or anything like that, look at tutorials and references because it helps so much. And speaking of tutorials, if you want me to do any tutorials in particular, let me know and I'll see if I can get that done. I'm not the best at tutorials though, so yeah, but we'll see. So if there's anything that you want a tutorial for, let me know. Anyway, I hope this video was helpful, and if it wasn't, let me know what I can do to make these videos better. Yeah, I hope you have a good day. Bye!